Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Celebrating Enugu State at 34. I mean, that is a huge milestone that calls for reflection on the history and achievements and even the future outlook of Enugu State. Now, with us in the studio this morning to talk about that is Mazi Ndukaeya. He's a senior statesman. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Uchenna. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Listeners, how are you? Everybody, happy day. This is another weekend. To God be the glory. To
God be the glory. And I also want to celebrate you this morning. Your birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. Like I said, I'm already one day older.
One day older.
To God also be the glory.
Yes, to God be the glory. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, now Enugu, marks 34 years since it was carved from old Anambra State. So this is an opportunity to reflect on, the history of Enugu State and where it is going to. So I would like to know tell us about, Enugu's founding story and the reasons why it was carved out, back then in 1991 and how it is looking like currently.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Fortunately, I have had this program elsewhere, and therefore I am at home with what we are talking. Enugu State. As a matter of fact, before I entered the studio where I went there, I was asked, which Enugu State are you talking about? And that brings me to tell our listeners, when we talk about Enugu State, I believe that what we are here today for 34 years is the concept of Enugu as a state, a concept. Because I was asking, is it Enugu State that is 34, who died in 1999, and then we have another Enugu State who was born in 1999. In other words, out of the 34, we can split them into two. Enugu State, 34 years old. Enugu State, 26 years old. What we are talking about, we're starting with is an old Enugu State. During your introduction, I talked about old Anambra State. Yeah. So we have two Enugu States, old Enugu State and the new Enugu State. Old Enugu State started in 1991 and ended in 1999. And the present Enugu State, as we know it, started in 1999. And we are moving forward. I don't know when it will end. Let me also remind our listeners that these states were not necessarily created as a political weapon for improvement. It is one of the aberrations of the military junta that ruled us for 30-something years. The first state in the country was created by General Yakubu Gowon as the military junta head of state imposed on Nigeria by the northern elements of the military, when they mistook that the coup of January 15, 1960 was an Igbo coup, and they went on genocide and mass slaughter of our people, which led to the death of Ago Ironsi, and which put Gowon on us. There was a war. We were also in the regions, because what Gowon fought was Eastern region led by the then Emeka Ojukwu. We were still in a regional government, Midwest, East, West, and North. And with the political thing, the military thing that happened now, the nation was still running in the regional thing until midway in the war, following an earlier demand in the eastern region, there was this demand for COR to be separated instead of being part of eastern region for Calabar Ogoja River. In fact, it didn't occur until Gowon took his action. Gowon said he was doing police action against the Ojukwu eastern region, and the war went on for several years. And he saw a technical, you might say, strategic thing. If you split the solidarity of eastern region, it will be easy for the war. And immediately, Gowon created the Cross River and River State out of eastern region. The solidarity of that region went to pieces. And that's why it was easy for the war to be won. Because if I remained in that solidarity, there was no way. Probably we were talking about peace like Ukraine and Russia or Palestine and Israel. But at that time, you know, British Prime Minister visited, everybody to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. This is history. I laid this foundation because states were not created for patriotic reasons. They were created purely for military strategic reasons. And from that point on, people started agitating for states. So you find the states were not all created in one day. We went from 12 to 19, from 19 to, to 36 now. Yes. That is the position. So in 1991, how did Enugu State come about? We used to be old Anambra State, which was made up of places in southeast, Anambra, Imo, Abia, Enugu, and I think there were five of us in the old Anambra. Then more agitations and more agitations, then we came down. If you remember, I don't know how many, there was a cause for Wawa State, led by Onu and many people who think that they are being marginalized by more advanced brothers and sisters. And therefore, this agitation went on. And the military, it was the military, they had the knife and they had the yam and they were cutting and giving to people as they thought, with no reference to anybody, no consultation. That was why it was a military aberration. And I dare say that is what we are still going through, because we have inherited a military system that is contrary to our federal system on which we were made a nation. That's number one. First of all, in 1991, if you remember, the military rulers were ready to go. They were ready to go. And they had started all the elections, really, and had done the governors. They have had the election, they have governors elect and so on. And the ruler then had appointed an interim national government, ING, headed by a civilian, late Ernest Shenekon.
Yes, Mazi Eya.
Yes. So I'm coming to tell you how about 1991.
Yeah, no, because of the time. Yeah. Okay. So I'd like us to move on to look at the evolutions and the development of the state, looking at the past governments and what they have.
In the first Enugu state of 34 years, let me start by also saying, in reviewing this thing, there is no government, no human being in the world who is all bad or all good. In the first 1991 to 1999, we had a mixed grill of military administrators, civilian interregnums, and so on before 1999. And each of these things, we had, for example, our military governor who ruled us. I think it was Omerua was the first for, I think it was for Anambra State. When he left, there are other military governors. I think there was an Ejo, and there was another person, I can't remember his name, before Wodo in 1991. Each of the governors, each one of them, military or civilian, in the 31st 9 years, did their best to put Enugu in either in economic standard or something, because everything had gone to pieces really, and all they were doing is to rebuild. So you cannot get one person and say, oh, he didn't do anything. Every minute, I remember a man like Aman, he was busy in making sure that our local governments worked. And I remember going with the military administrator, going to my own village, and at that time you find local governments grading roads. I remember 11 roads that connected my home from Tunsoka. It was done by the local government and so on and so forth.
So looking at the present government now, how would you assess?
In 1999, we came to it another 26 years when Chimaroke, Dr. Chimaroke,
yes,
came in. That is the present Enugu, because in the old Enugu, we were Enugu and Ebonyi now. That's why it's also Enugu. Sometime the military then decided to give us, to remove Ebonyi from Enugu, and that is the Enugu in which we are now. Enugu State is Enugu State. If you divide them into Enugu North and Enugu South, Enugu Province, and Nsukka Province. That's what makes Enugu. And in these 26 years, not any of the governors has seen the El Dorado. Not any of the governors have made it worse. Everyone tried to do his best. And that is why you listen now, everybody comes, oh, how is the governor doing? It's not, that is assessment, depending on where you stand. But I think we must admit, from 1991 to present, I think we have made tremendous progress.
Yeah.
For those of us who are not old enough, when Chimaroke came, he started a new thing. It was under him that a lot of things were established. I remember my own street from Obolafo to Enugu Ezike. If you rode from Enugu to Obolafo in 1 hour, you rode from Obolafo to Enugu Ezike in 3.5 hours. And I remember one day, I went to the guy and said, look, this road, he told me, I will build it. And he did. Incidentally, it was also held by the Buhari administration in Petroleum Task Force. And it has been very well, except it beginning to break down now.
Yeah.
There's nobody, each of the governors tried his best. Then after Chime, it was in Chime that we saw an urban renewal. Urban renewal of Enugu. Those who knew Enugu, you could go around Enugu in 30 minutes. When Chime came, you now had this big Bisala built and bus stops and so on. It was a remarkable achievement.
Now, just one more question before we go, because we are really out of time.
Thank you.
Now, looking forward, what would you say that is one change you'd like to see in Enugu State before its 40th anniversary?
Well, if wishes were horses, I would like Enugu State to be like London, which we are making reference, to be like Brazil, where our president has just come back from, to be like advanced country where there is civilization with less personal cantankerous approach. I think that our states have become too cantankerous, and that's why I'm taking good construction with charity. People should not come. Peter Mba is a human being. There is some evil in him, there is some good in him. All of us. Nobody is entirely bad. When somebody is doing something good, we should look at them. Look at this state, for example. Today is the end of Nigerian Bar Association.
Yes.
Do we know how much the economy of Enugu State has been improved in these 5 days?
Yes. It's
Do
a good
people
one.
realize it?
It's a good one. Yes.
That is what the sort of thing we want.
Yes.
Peter, yesterday they commissioned the Niger gas. I didn't even know that, but I had it. I was thrilled. The Niger gas. Let every government, they said, the fundamental principles of governance, or fundamental principle, is the welfare of the people.
Of the people.
Unfortunately, across the nation, our leaders are not thinking about the welfare of the people.
Right. All right.
And that is the problem we have. Peter Mba has started. Yeah. He's not the Messiah, but he's doing his best. And I think we should support him.
Exactly.
And when we encourage other politicians, don't send their enemies to the dry cleaner because you want to have power. I draw attention as a closing mark. In the 8th Senate of this country, where PDP and APC ran the Senate, it was the most robust Senate we have, because each one of them, they were looking for the good of the country. But today, what do we see? When a man goes up, when he talks, the other person is doing nothing. Thank you for listening to me, but I think that we in Nigeria, let us be charitable to ourselves. We are brothers and sisters. Let us know that nobody is out to kill the other. The crime in our country today is too much. It's too much. And I'm praying to God to bring us leaders that bring us peace, tranquility, so that our motto, unity, peace and progress, will continue in this country. To God be the glory.
So thank you so much, Mazi Nduka Eya, for, I mean, we didn't have so much time to expand and talk so much because you have a lot, to say, but we'll drop it here.
Thank you.
We'll drop it here for now. Thank you so much for joining.
You're welcome.
All right, and the political circle will be coming up next. Do stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking, events occur, and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.